back, my friends, as we continue here on the Alex Jones Show. Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in for Alex today, broadcasting worldwide from FEMA Region 6 of Occupied America, Banker Occupied America. We are talking about how you know how you really beat the globalists is you get yourself healthy so that you don't become a victim of the Fukushima radiation that now threatens us all and could be released at any time. The winds would blow it all across North America within 10 days. They would hit Alaska in as little as 5 days. This is a very serious threat to us. In fact, if you want to beat the globalists, just stop eating their junk food. Stop eating their chemicals. Get healthy so that you can not be a victim of the medical industry and the psychiatric drug industry and have to use antibiotics or get superbugs in the hospitals. You can be you can achieve victory. You can be a patriot. You can be a leader in your life by turning to nutrition. I want to show you some of the nutritional products. They got a shot right here of this is what Alex and Aaron are drinking, Tangy Tangerine. This is what I drink right here. People ask me, what is that stuff? That's actually Living Fuel is what that is. That's at livingfuel.com. The Mahdi Phelan here on top of the Tangy Tangerine. You guys can pan up perhaps and get, there you go. That is at the InfoWars store, the brown seaweed extract. We went out and bought this at HEB, just some fresh juice right there. Some fresh juice. Yeah, in fact, what is that juice? It's a veggie juice. It's a combination of carrots, celery, beets, and tomatoes. Beets protect you big time. And all the minerals and all these supplements, all these products, these are highly protective of the human body. These keep you safe. Dr. Saputo, your comments on nutritional victory in America.
Well, see, Mike, you're doing a great job here that no one else is much doing. On Natural News and, of course, on this show, you're spreading information that the American public needs to know, and it's not being popularized. The press is hiding a lot of this stuff. I don't know if they want us to be sick or what, but I think a lot of it has to do with just the money that's in the industry that gives us fast foods and foods that are nutritionally deficient. So I want to thank you so much for what you're doing here, because it's the education that makes the change possible. You know, how we spend our money has a big effect on what business are going to come and be popular, because money talks. So we have a tremendous amount of power just in the way we spend our dollars. And I think the nutrition that we're eating in this country in the standard American diet is exactly that. It's SAD for SAD.
Yeah.
When the USDA did studies on tens of thousands of people and looked at the malnutrition in this country, even though we're overweight, it's stunning because we get calories but no nutrition.
But this is what's so cool about the InfoWars team. They are into nutrition. Alex Jones gets it. One of their key sponsors was Enerfood, or continues to be Enerfood. Can we get a canister of Enerfood out here just to show that? Alex is on Tangy Tangerine, and Aaron Dykes had a massive, incredible weight loss and health recovery on that product, which is high in minerals. I practice nutrition. You know, a lot of InfoWars listeners don't realize I used to be borderline obese, borderline diabetic, type 2. I was hypoglycemic. I suffered from chronic pain. Dr. Saputo, you went through your own health crisis. You got healthy with nutrition. Tell us about that.
I almost died about 8 months ago. I was having a hip replaced. You know, I'm a tennis player and I couldn't walk anymore. So I had it replaced with a hip resurfacing, and unfortunately trusted that everything that the doctors were doing was safe. And of course, it turned out not to be, because I got poisoned by the cobalt that's in the hip replacement. And that led to my just being as sick as I've ever seen anybody. And I did my last will. I made peace with God. And I thought I was done. And I couldn't get my doctors to understand what was going on because this was such a new concept. And so what we did is finally convince somebody to put in a new hip, which made all the difference in the world about stopping the cobalt poisoning. So I'm doing well now, and a lot of it has been about eating the right foods, exercising intelligently, getting the right amount of sleep, all the lifestyle
stuff. All right, well said. Stay with us, Dr. Saputo. More on the other side of this break. Stay with us on the Alex Jones Show. We'll be right back. Yeah, there is a war on for your mind, but you can be a victor in that war. And we have been talking about how to achieve victory in the war on your nutrition and on your body, and also how to protect yourself from radiation that could be headed our way if things go wrong in Fukushima. I want to make this point, and we continue to be joined by Dr. Len Saputo, who is a holistic nutritionist and healing doctor who's given us a lot of great information, and he's going to continue with us. if you want to foul up the globalist plans, stop buying globalist food. Stop buying globalist chemicals. Obviously, you know about Monsanto, but did you know that the second largest GMO seed company in America is DuPont? How many DuPont products are you buying? Did you know that Tyson Chicken is really a big corporate factory farm? Are you still buying Tyson Chicken? Have you looked at the campaign contributions of Tyson Chicken and who they donate to? Ever looked at that? If you buy aspartame, if you buy GMOs, if you buy factory meat, not the free range stuff, the good stuff, but the factory meat, these factory produced foods, you are supporting globalist corporations. You're supporting the globalist agenda. So one of the most powerful ways to fight back is to deny revenues to those companies. And at the same time, by shifting what you buy in terms of your diet and your health, you'll be protecting your body and your family from radiation and from cancer and from heart disease and from degenerative Alzheimer's disease, from all these disorders. You win against the globalists and you save your life at the same time by turning to nutrition. It's that powerful. Dr. Saputo, your thoughts on this subject. Go ahead.
Well, we take a lot of these things for granted and we forget about how much power we have. The power of our dollar and how we spend our money is fantastic. And there's a lot that we can do to change what manufacturers are gonna sell. They will only produce products that they think that you'll be silly enough to buy if they're not any good. But if you're smart and you're listening to what Mike is telling us here, there's a lot we can do. I mean, even the business about water, I was listening to a commercial. They were talking about a water filtration system. How important would that be if there's a nuclear disaster? It'd be tremendous, because it filters out the cesium, okay, that's in particulate form, so that you wouldn't have that in the water you're drinking. And that's, of course, one of the commonest ways that we get poisoned by the radiation that's fallout.
That's right.
So you're right. What a good point.
Well, and part of me wonders, too, if the feet dragging on the part of the U.S. government and the NRC, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which could solve this problem. They've got the funds, as Arnie Gundersen told us in the last hour. They could solve this problem in Japan. Why aren't they doing so? Maybe they want a nuclear catastrophe in America. Maybe they want the population poisoned. I mean, look at the vaccines. Look at the fluoride. Look at the GMOs and the collusion between the Obama administration, the USDA, and Monsanto. Look at that. It's like they are literally trying to kill Americans. They probably welcome Fukushima going into another dirty bomb outburst, another plume of radioactivity. They probably welcome mass death across America. And the only way that you can protect yourself from that death agenda, which is part of Agenda 21, let's just be honest about it, is to get healthy and make your body immune to those, or not immune, but better protected against those things. Go ahead.
You're so right. I mean, if you take all those factors into consideration, it becomes obvious that there's a pattern that's forming here. There's a picture that's being painted. There's a puzzle that's being put together. And you're seeing all these things that are not good for us. And you'd like to think it's just about economics. And some of it certainly is, because America is an economy. It's not a democracy anymore. It's corporate America that's running Congress. And it's Congress that's out. You're all right about that. So what do? Is you have to take responsibility yourself, like you're saying, and make the right choices. So I'm on board with you there, Mike.
Hey, are you willing to share your age with people? Because you look healthy, you sound healthy. I know how old you are because you told me the other day. I think people would be surprised. You want to go public with that?
You bet. I'm 72 years young, and I'm still playing competitive tennis. You 50-year-olds that aren't tournament players, you better watch out. It really is good to be healthy and to be vibrant and to get engaged in something that keeps you having a purpose in your life. If you do all those things, you're not going to get old. Your mind's going to stay young. Your body's going to stay young. I love life, and all the things that we're doing in our life here is so busy. It's more than when I was 20 years old, but it's great.
Well, wow. You deserve a lot of credit for that. Let's shift gears here, though, okay, and talk about the CDC and the researching of bioweapons and even what I call weaponized vaccines. I don't know if you agree with that term. What do you think about the CDC, the Centers for Disease Contradiction?
Well, you're right. I mean, we should just get rid of it. It's like the FDA. When they stop serving the people and they're serving private interest and there's conflict of interest all over the place, you have to get rid of it. Except that's not what's happening. In fact, it's not happening in a lot of areas where that needs to happen in this country. I mean, in my view, we should be voting out all the incumbents because we can't trust them. I mean, I would start over from scratch. And I don't know how much of it's just a conspiracy, but a lot of it is pointing that way big time. But we have to wake up as individual people and start taking responsibility ourselves for some of the things we're seeing. No, the CDC is a disgrace to humanity. I mean, look at Julie Gebharding. We mentioned that on your show last time.
Mrs. Gebharding? Yes.
Dr. Gebharding is working now for who? Merck. And what does she do? She runs their vaccine department, probably making a ton of money. Why? Because she did all the things she did to support the dumbass swine flu. Hello. Talk about a scam.
No, let's be clear about this. Dr. Gebharding was the head of the CDC. She hyped up the scare story of the false pandemic of the swine flu, and then she was rewarded with a top position in the multinational firm Merck running their international vaccine division.
Yeah, business is business, Mike, right?
Well, of course it is. The CDC exists today to just scare everybody into thinking they have these diseases. Like we covered the whooping cough earlier. There's another outbreak of whooping cough. They don't tell you that it's the kids that got vaccinated that have the outbreak. Those are the ones more vulnerable to whooping cough.
Well, it makes you wonder who they're serving, because it certainly isn't the American public. I mean, there's so much money and conflict of interest involved here. And there's a conspiracy stuff, too. You know, we don't like to think in terms of conspiracies, particularly as doctors. We don't. But it's kind of hard to ignore it when you see all these things happening that are painting this picture, this puzzle that we're seeing that's frightening.
Well, the conspiracy in some people's mind, that's a dirty word for some reason. Like what? Two people never got together in a room and planned something? That's a conspiracy. That's called a meeting of the board at every major corporation in America. It's always a conspiracy. Are you kidding me?
It's global. And you look at some of the bigger organizations, Alex was talking about the Bilderberg stuff. Holy smoke. I mean, we plug up our ears and close our eyes and say, this is America. That can't be happening. But guess what, folks? This stuff is out there and it's happening. Yeah. And we're asleep at the wheel.
Okay, let's talk about false flag attacks, possibly using bioweapons. I want your professional expert opinion on this. Right. The conjecture on this has been that in terms of the next false flag attack, it's got to be bigger than 9/11, bigger than Oklahoma City. It's got to be huge in order for them to grab more power. Some people speculate it might be a dirty bomb nuclear type of event. Other people speculate it might be a bioweapons release. My question to you, Dr. Saputo, is do you believe that there is bioweapons research taking place in America today that could be used either in good hands or bad hands against the American people to drastically reduce the population?
Well, we know that's happening. That's no secret. I mean, they're perfecting all kinds of biological weapons that can be used that cause disease, and it's like they're doing it anyway. It's like making a pandemic virus like they did in 1918 and replicating that, or making it even worse to use as warfare. Of course, that could be a problem, and it shouldn't even be. I mean, if people think that way, what are they thinking? I mean, it's like
they're anti-humanists. They are death merchants. They are straight from hell, if you don't mind me using that term. I mean, they worship death.
Well, I'm beginning to think that. I guess I've had kind of a comfortable life, not thinking too much about that because I've just been involved in my work and in my sport and in my family. And you don't like to think about things like that, but it gets to a point where you see enough of it, you have to be silly. You have to ignore it. You have to almost close your eyes and ears because it's all over the place around us. And if you don't put the pieces of the puzzle together, you're just being silly. You have to look at that.
Well, that's exactly what we are doing right here. We're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. That's why I appreciate you joining us. But yeah, a lot of people do live in total denial. Denial is the worst epidemic in America. It should be called, American denial disease, ADD. Probably have a psychiatric drug for that,
We don't want to think about that because it seems like it's unthinkable. And yet when you see what's happening in this country, we spend all this money on Goldman Sachs, we spend money on wars, and we know how the economy is built. And then we see people on the streets of our major cities that are homeless, that are vets from previous wars or have psychiatric disorders because of things that have happened, and we don't come to their rescue. What kind of a humanity are we turning into? We have to start taking care of ourselves.
You've nailed it. You've nailed it. That is the question. We've got to have a future in humanity where we have a philosophical